Come over. You already know it's time for real talk.
Welcome back, everyone, to Seriously Girl Talk with your two fabulous hosts, Katie
and Destiny.
And we're just gonna get right into it, girl, because you said you did something fun over the weekend or Friday.
I did. So yesterday, honestly, wait, how do I say this? So yesterday, all right, no. As you know, I grew up sheltered, right? And in a bubble. Like, I really didn't go out much. You know, as you know, too, I'm Dominican. So yesterday was my first time on Dykeman. Have you ever been to Dykeman?
I've been to Dykeman.
So like There's this whole thing about Dykeman that everyone's like, Dykeman is so lit, yada yada. Like, you know, I'm 30 now, so my friends that are 30 and over, they're kind of like, Dykeman was a thing that I did when I was younger, right? Like, they're kind of like, it's not
lit anymore.
Right. Like, well, it's lit, but not for that age group, unless they're having like an event at a particular place, whatever. But me, you know, I didn't really go outside. I had my share of outside, but it was never like in the city. So it was my first time on Dykeman yesterday. And let me just say, like, I feel like it wasn't as lit as people make it out to be. Like, it really wasn't. Like, we went to La Casa de Mofongo. First of all, the food was amazing. Shout out to you, Casa de Mofongo. Yeah, they did a big one with the Mofongos. But the vibe was like, I wanted to dance at one point because it was already like 12:30. It was supposed to be 1 o'clock in the morning.
You were outside at that time?
Bro, I was outside at that time.
Wow.
I know. That's just way past my bedtime.
That's big for you.
I know. I barely do that.
I'm proud. For real.
Right. But yeah, so they didn't really have a dancing situation, and I was kind of like upset by that. But my friend was telling me that it wasn't like an event. You know, they didn't have a scheduled event or someone that was performing. And usually, if they're having a performance that's scheduled, they moved all the chairs and all that stuff. So I was like bummed. And then, but the food was good, so I wasn't totally bummed. Then we went out to another club, the 809 or something. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know.
It was not giving, no. It was really a lot of young people. It was an extreme. It was either the people were very young, like I'm talking early 20s, or older, like 40s, which was kind of a blow because I'm like, where's the middle people? You know?
But you know what it is? It could also just be like you've outgrown that stage. Yeah. You know, like maybe that's just not your vibe. It could also be the place, but I'm just saying, like, maybe it's just the vibe, you know? Like, maybe that's just not your scene, and that's why it wasn't, you know, as fun or lit as you wanted it to be. Also, it was Friday, so...
But apparently people be outside Friday night, no? That's not a thing?
I don't know, I feel like Saturday, everybody goes out on Saturday, because it's like, Friday you went to work, you go home, relax. Saturday is like, all right, we're gonna go outside, because then Sunday you get to relax again.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe like the young people would be like, yeah, we go out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then you had to like pay to get in. Well, the first place, like I said, Mofongo, you didn't because we eat dinner there. So we just went and ate dinner, whatever. And it wasn't a club. It was just, you were literally dining. And the 809, you had to pay. And I'm like, I didn't like that. I was like, I think I've outgrown this. So, lesson for me is if they're not having an event, I'm particularly not pulling up to no club, you know? Yeah. How was
my week?
Yeah.
Well, my week was good. Work was crazy. In a good way, in a negative way, you know. You can't predict your days. But I just sold my car today. So it's a very emotional day for me. Because I sold my car, which is a good thing. You sell your car, but like my car was my first car that I got out the dealer, you know? So it's like, you know, I had the money for the down payment and everything, and I just sold it back and my heart is shattered. You know, I love SUVs, so I'm an SUV girl, but I did get a new car. So I'm happy for that. But I think that's like probably like the biggest highlight of my life. Well, not of my life was of my week personally.
That's good. Yeah. I'm really happy for you because I know that Jeep held a lot of memories for you, but that just means now you're gonna make new memories with your new vehicle.
Yes.
So salute to new memories.
Cheers. I was gonna say, girl, you gotta drink.
I know.
You can't say cheers without drink. So we're gonna get into our topic of, I was gonna say the week, because it is the week, right? So our topic of the week is social media. You ever seen SpongeBob where it goes, imagination? And that's a good point to point out for our episode for this week, because social media, I feel like a lot of it is fake, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone portrays themselves to be something that they're not, right? And I don't know, I feel like everybody like has to live this lifestyle on social media. Like if you broke, you have to act rich, and if you're rich, well, you act rich, you know. I can't do anything other than that. But it's just like,
or like pretend like you're happy because you're rich.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, it's funny to see because, you know, a lot of the people that are on social media want to live this fake life. And it's like, why live a fake life when you should be happy about your real life?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest though, I feel like that's kind of shifting because I feel that people are now documenting not only their wins, but their losses. And I don't know if that's necessarily for views or, well, I should say everyone's intent is different, right? I believe some people record and post those types of videos to spread awareness.
Yeah, that's true.
And also to get views, right? Like, but I also think, because that's interesting that you say that too, because as a mom, I remember when I was not a mom and there was so much glorification of being a mother, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want this life so bad. And I'm not saying that to say I don't want this life, but I became a mom and then I'm like, wow, it's not so much sunshine and rainbows like the reels I've seen. But then I started seeing the other side of TikTok or Insta where there's mothers that post the toughness, right? Or the more raw, real, unfiltered part of motherhood. So I'm like, I don't know if that was just my algorithm. I don't know what's happening. Yeah. You know, or people are just being more transparent online. I don't know. But regardless, at the end of the day, it's a 60-second clip, right? Or like a minute, whatever. So it could be, like you said, what it's what that person is choosing to post about themselves. Yeah. And you know, I do agree with you in the sense that you do get to see the good and the ugly, but I think it depends on the person, right? Because like where you saw the person having a tough it's okay. This is part of our life. Lila's part of our life. But I think it all depends on the person that's, you know, showing their world, right? Because there are some that just want to show you one side and pretend they live like this beautiful life and stuff. And it's like, it's okay to have ugly parts, you know? Like that's the beauty of life. It's to have ugly parts because those tend to be lessons or, you know, mistakes that you then realize they were actually blessings in disguise. Right? So I just feel like in the world that we live in today, we do document a lot in our life, which is beautiful. When I grew up watching social media, we all had to live like this lifestyle, like, yeah, you know, my parents are rich and I have all this stuff, and it's like, you can't even afford this, you know? Or you're out here showing that you're doing X, Y, and Z, and it's like, but what did you really do to do X, Y, and Z, you know? Yeah. So it just goes to show, like, society in general has grown in different ways because, yes, documenting the ugly actually makes us feel like we're more relatable to people. Right. You know, which is the beauty of life, again. And I try to document my ugly, and then I look back and I'm like, damn, girl, you really ugly. Yeah. No, but I really appreciate those moments because especially in like vulnerable parts of your life. Like I always go back to motherhood because that's a big one for me personally, and it really puts things into perspective for you, and it's like, wow, I'm not the only one feeling, thinking this, you know. So I actually appreciate that. Saying that the people that do choose to kind of sugarcoat their life, or I mean, nobody's asking you to post about your life for real, right?
Yeah.
So the people that choose to put on a front, I guess I would say, on social media, depicting whatever it is that they want to showcase about themselves, I think that just has to say more about that individual. You know, like there's definitely some deep rooted insecurities or need for attention. It varies person to person, but there's definitely a purpose or a deep rooted reason why people want to show up as someone that's not authentically them, you know, or doesn't actually align with their true lifestyle.
And you know, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was one of those individuals that grew up like you have to pretend like you're somebody else on social media, right? But I feel like I feel like I got what's the word, like fed into it, like, you know, to live that life where it's like you're pretending for social media, that at some point I felt like, oh yeah, this is me, and then I come back to reality and I'm like, wait, this is actually not me. It's like you kind of lose yourself in social media, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's like a lot of pressure with it too, because you see something on social media and then you're like, oh, I want that, or I want to do that, or I want to, you know, share something similar to that. And it's like now you have the pressure of like being something that you're not.
Right. And just to normalize your experience, I feel like a lot of that happens a lot as a teenager, or like in those coming of age years, I think for sure, because I also related to what you said, you know, because you know, that middle school, even the beginning of high school, I would say actually all of high school, kind of figuring out who you really are, finding yourself, that awkward ass stage that I would never ever wish to go back to.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that time you're really trying to figure that out, and it's so clear, like with how you show up on social media. That's why I don't know if I'm really necessarily gonna allow my kids to have social media until they're like 11th graders or something like that, for real, because kids are just mean.
Good luck.
I
Good
know.
luck, Charlie.
No, it's I'm like, listen, if you can afford a phone and pay your own bill and sign up, whatever. I'm just talking mad shit. I don't know what I'm really gonna do. I mean, my kids are so little,
like,
but I would hope that I can, because, you know, but it happens, because I had a kid that he was a 9th grader and he was like, he had a phone, but he wasn't allowed to get on social media. And he was like, I'm so mad because my parents are not letting me. But I'm like, what makes you so mad about that? Or what makes you so sad about that? And he's like, oh, it's because I feel like I'm missing out, you know? And it's that piece of feeling like I can't fully connect to my peers. But then you hear about the bullying that happens. It's just too much.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you have a kid that's like is grounded in who they are, because there's some kids that are able to do that before others. If your kid is grounded in who they are and they're not so easily influenced by others, I guess it could be fine. But on the other side of the spectrum, like if your kid is easily influenced, they're kind of still dealing with self-esteem issues, that could be really hard for the kid, you know? So, I mean, social media has so many pros and cons, it's crazy.
Yeah. And I do think it's a lot harder, again, like in the generation that we live in, because a lot of these kids grow up with technology and they have to have technology. But one thing that I do want to say that I've learned, or I've reflected or seen through myself, is that like my younger self would have posted so much like selfies of me. Like I remember like doing my makeup just to post a picture on social media.
Facts.
If you look at my social media, my Instagram page right now, you'll probably see something from like, I mean, my recent post was like 3 weeks ago, but before that was probably like a month ago. Before that was probably like 4 months ago.
Right.
It's just like, for me personally, I have lost the idea of like, okay, I need to record everything. And I feel like that was like the big thing about social media, is like you have to record every detail and post it, you know. And it's like, yes, you can and make money, but it's like you don't really have to. You don't. And if you are doing it, are you doing it for yourself or are you doing it for others?
Right. So
Like,
that
who
part.
are you trying to prove? You
That
know.
part.
And I feel like with social media and society, it's like you're posting stuff to like prove something, you know. And it's like at the end of the day, all you have to do it for is yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like these people aren't doing anything for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's the big problem with social media.
But I like what you said, because it's like going back to the reason of posting, right? Like you had mentioned back then, I would post for the attention. So it was like, how many likes do I have? Oh my gosh, did someone comment that I look pretty? Like, it was almost to build my self-esteem.
Yeah.
Whereas now, that's not, like, I'm not relying on that for my self-esteem. Like, I'm grounded in who I am as an individual, you know? And now my purpose for posting, or my reasons for posting, is more like, monetizing or to spread info, like the counseling post I did. But I also don't post that much. But when I do post, that's the mentality I go into it with. So that's very different than wanting attention, wanting people to reassure you on your physical, like, you know what I'm saying? So the reasoning is really important, like you said.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. You know, like damn, like you hit that button where it's like shit. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like with society and social media, it's a lot. You know, and I'm glad that I'm not part of it anymore and I outgrew it, because now I just think about making myself happy and I post what I want to post, and I don't feel pressured to post stuff just to post, you know? But going back to, because you said you were posting about school counseling, like with you though, I feel like you have like this great vision when it comes to like social media, you know? And we talk a lot about, okay, don't pay attention to the viewers, don't pay attention about, you know, the comments and stuff like that, because it's all a progress, right? Like the people that want to see it are going to see it, and the people that want to react are going to react, and those are the people that you want 100%. You know, you don't want no fake people trying to like and comment and be a fake supporter, you know? So it's like with time, like that's gonna grow, and especially with the people that just post about their normal life, all the ugly, like they post it because, you know, they want to share what they go through, and a lot of people, you know, relate to it, and that's why they get the attention that they get. You know?
No, and literally, social media opens. Oh, thank you for the compliment, by the way. I feel like it was low key a compliment.
No, it is a compliment. Yeah, it is a low key. It is a compliment.
She's like high key.
Yeah,
Thank
high
you.
key.
Cause I feel the same about you. Like that's why like we were so good with collaborating. But ew, that sounded mad businessy, but you know what I mean. But I was gonna say, actually, I think it's so amazing how social media opens so many doors. Like, I don't know if you know this influencer, or I don't know if she calls herself, no, I think she calls herself a content creator, because they made a clear distinction of the two. But her name's like Janae, I forgot her last name, but her name's Janae, and she does fashion content. And she used to work at Target, and she was a manager. Well, she was a sales associate, and then she kind of climbed up the ladder in Target all the way to corporate, and she was working there for years. But her passion was always fashion, and she would post her outfits of the day every single day. And she talks about, dedication, right? And she talks about her journey. And now she's a full-time content creator doing what she loves, like making probably like 10 times the amount that she was making in Target working in corporate, you know, like that social media really changed her life, you know, and opens the door, so many doors for her. So I just think like hearing those stories, I'm like, wow, the power of social media is amazing. Like it can really transform people's lives, you know? So it's just like with anything in life, there's positive and negatives to everything, but I think the positives are really positive. Well, the negatives are also really negative.
Yeah, but there's a lot of positive.
There is a lot of positive. Like I would argue, if you're an adult and you're grounded in who you are and you have a vision, it could be very powerful. I see social media more problematic when you're kind of, I don't know, who I am. You're comparing yourself to people for those younger individuals, because there's still adults that, you know, suffer from comparing themselves, and then they
100%.
get depressed, whatever. You have those situations, so, you know, stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying, like, for those people that are really like, I know who I am and stuff, like, social media could be pretty powerful.
It is, and you know, I feel like that's why the genuine people that blow up on social media are the ones that deserve it the best. You know, because it's like they don't do it for views or for, you know,
What
clout,
about those TikTok
right?
ones?
No, but I'm saying like certain individuals that do like blow up, right?
Yeah,
that
like
are
that.
genuine.
Yeah.
Like you get to see how genuine a person is from the jump, from when they first start
that's a
posting.
fact.
Like you can tell, okay, is this person really who they are perceiving themselves to be, or are they just pretending to be someone that they're not to gain views, you know? And those are the individuals that pop off, you know?
Facts.
You know? So it's like,
People feel energy.
yeah, and it's like those are made for them. So
No, I agree.
So that is all for our social media talk. This was very deep and very good. I'm actually glad, you know, we sat down and talked about social media. If you guys have any comments or any suggestions or any topics you want to hear, you know, please go ahead and voice your opinion down below.
And do you agree with us, or like do you disagree with us? Is there anything that we didn't necessarily touch on in regards to social media? Please drop it in the comments because we would love to know. But
Real talk out.
out.
No, it's shut it down.
Real talk. I'm glad you got that off your chest.
Seriously, until next time.